Alright, so I've had a few people ask me how my bed here works and how it functions so that I can still walk underneath of it. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in that ballpark. I do have an 8-foot ceiling, so that makes it a lot easier. But when it's in the travel position, as you can see, I can walk underneath of it no problem, so it's completely out of my way. But what I've got is some aluminum shoring beams. They're actually designed for like 18-wheelers and trailers and stuff, where you hook them into the E-track and you can put stuff on them, or it just keeps things from moving around. But that's what they're called, shoring beams. These were modified to make them a little bit shorter. They typically come in an 8 or 8.5 foot wide. Since I've got a 7-foot wide trailer, I could get 7-foot wide ones, but they were a lot more money than I was really willing to pay. So I took some 8-footers and cut them down and modified them to fit the way I wanted. So they work well. And then I've just got 1x6 slats here, making the frame. And then I've got a Racor garage lift to actually do the raising and lowering. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you what the bottom of it looks like here. So turn on a light here. So what I've got here, this is the garage lift mechanism, and a lot of times you're supposed to actually put it in the center, and it would probably work better in the center. But I moved it off to one side, mostly because I didn't want to hit my head on it right here in the middle. What it does create is the angle at which the cables are going through it kind of doesn't make it the best once I get up close to the top. And here's why. As you can see, the cable coming off here goes at an angle. Now as I lower it down, it becomes straighter, but it goes at an angle here. And then I have the hooks up top, which you can't hardly see them right now, but they're up top on the E-track. So the hook is out here, and so this cable, after it comes through this pulley, has to go at an angle. It'd be better if the hooks were straight up and down, but I attached it to the E-track just for strength. If I went here, I didn't have a stud in behind, so it was just plywood, and I didn't really like that. So I just deal with the angle. If I wanted to get creative, I could change this roller, either angle it or change it to a better roller. I just haven't done that yet because this works okay. These are skateboard wheels, and I just added those in the bracket for one reason, and that's so as I'm moving things around, this roller will hit my wall instead of having the wood or the metal bracket or something hit my wall and scuff it up. I just put these rollers on there. No other reason. This side, same thing, goes up at an angle. This has the mechanism on it, which I just use my 1/2-inch drill to raise and lower. The other side over here is a farther distance, and I leave it just a little bit loose. I've thought about putting a little pulley or an eyelet or something up here to kind of keep it out of my way, but really it's not an issue. So until it causes me problems, I'll probably just leave it as is. But as you can see, it's just above the door frame here, so coming in and out, as long as you can fit through the door, you're not going to hit your head. Everything's above that, with the exception of that hanging down. But we typically are not in that area anyway, because I've got this shelf down below here, and so that, you know, that I typically am not walking over there. So I hang my drill on the wall, just hook it in and hook, but to demonstrate I do that. So to lower this down, it doesn't take long at all. Basically what I do is I raise this up. So in order to raise it, and all I do is raise it enough that I'm off these beams. As you can see, it kind of flexes. The ends are solid, but my 1x6 is flex, so that'd be awful springy if that's all I hung it by, and didn't use the shoring beams. But basically I raise it up so it's floating right now. And so I'll set the camera over here to the side so you can see what I do with these shoring beams and how I actually move them. Basically, I grab one end and unlock it from E-track, angle it down, the other side comes off. Now, what these are, I'll show you a little closer up. They just have an E-track fitting in the end, and they slide out. They lock with these little tabs. Now, I put a bungee inside this to keep these from just dangling around. It also just helps them retract. It's not a big deal, you don't have to have that, but it just makes it a little more convenient. So basically then, I move it to whatever height I want. Oops, too many things in the way. So I'll move it to whatever height I want. It was up here. I typically move down either 2 or 3 notches. Put it in over there. Lock that side in there and do the same for the other beam. Now that it's locked into that position, I just lower this back down. Now I'm in the sleeping position, and as you can see, there's plenty of room up there to sleep. And we sometimes will put it in that position. We sometimes even have it one higher, but that right there gives you plenty of room, so it's not an issue. And I can still fit underneath here. If I stand straight up, I'm going to hit my head, but I just duck a little bit. I can still go in and out of the door without any trouble. I can get everything I need. The fridge is here. I don't have my cabinets and everything built here yet, which is what I'm going to be doing next. So this is going to change a little bit, but this thing's solid. I could hang on one board if I wanted. These beams hold, I don't remember what it is, like 1,200 pounds a piece. And the E-track is screwed into the studs, so it's solid. It's not just in the plywood. But that's it. And these cables, like I say, I leave them a little bit loose. No big deal. So now, to raise it back up. Oh, one other thing while I'm thinking about it. How do I get in and out of it? Since it's still up above my head, I've got this nifty ladder right here. And all I do is take this ladder, pop it up to whatever height I want, lean it up against the wall, and then I'm able to climb right up the wall, or climb up the ladder and just crawl up in bed. Now, I can have this down. I've got a powered parachute. You probably don't know what that is, but it's a 3-wheeled aircraft. So when the front wheel comes in the center, I can still put up my ladder and I can sleep in here with that in. I also haul my side-by-side, and it's a little tighter fit. So the nose of it, this is a 7x14 trailer. So the nose of my Razor goes clear up underneath the bed, and the hood or the windshield sets probably about right in here somewhere. So it doesn't leave me much room here, but I can then put this ladder right up against the wall, and the tire will set here, and I can stand up, use a stool or something, step up on the tire, and then still climb up in bed. So I can sleep in it with the Razor in here, but it's pretty tight. With my powered parachute, it's no problem. And then of course if it's empty, it's no problem, because we usually get where we're going and I'll unload and then get out my chairs. I set a couple of chairs back here in the back. I set a little fold-up table, and we've got a little table and all that. I do intend over here on this side to build a little cabinet with a flip-down table and more like some workspace, but I haven't got that far yet. As always, a work in progress. Anyway, putting the ladder back down, it's just these little tabs. don't want to get your fingers in those things, but this ladder works pretty good because it is I think it's a 12-foot ladder, maybe it's a 10-foot, but either way, I've got 8-foot ceilings on this, so from the floor to the ground, it's about another 1.5 feet, so I got about 10 foot to the top of the trailer, so it must be a 12-footer, because I can use this outside as well if I need to get up on the roof, or I need to work on something that's up high. This ladder's tall enough to do that, so it's multi-purpose. I can use it for anything around on the trailer, and it's my easy access into my bed, and it stores super easy. Just drop it down, set under the strap, and that's all there is to it. So ladder, beams, the base of this, and just a little thin cheap mattress. I think they're on Amazon for like 150 bucks. I mean, they're not bad. Got a little bit of memory foam in it and some springs. Not great, but it's comfortable for what it is. So anyway, to raise this back up, see if I can do this and get this camera in the right angle. Alright, so to raise it back up, just the reverse. Go right up, a little higher. Right up to the top. Grab my beams. Put them in the upper position. Drill's kind of in the way there. And I could go down the road with it in the up position, just hanging on the cables, but it moves around and bangs around. So I just move the beams up and drop it right back down on them, just enough to release the tension off the cables. And like I say, I take the drill, and I've just got a little eyelet in the E-track. So I just hang my drill over there on the side, no problem. So that's the bed. And like I say, it's no problem, because now with it in the down position, I can still run my air conditioner. And my air conditioner's got heat in it as well. Some people would think that thing sitting right above you when it's running is going to be noisy. It's actually not that bad. The fan blows the air out the ends, so when you're sleeping, it's not blowing directly on you. It's blowing out beside you. But it keeps you plenty warm. There is some noise with it, but it's not terrible. If you like white noise when you're sleeping, that's basically all it is. So that's no problem. So I've also got diesel heat out on the floor, so I don't normally use that for heat unless I've got power I'm plugged into. I'm running solar, can't run that. Solar won't run that. No, I can get about an hour off of it. But anyway, so that's that. That's how the bed works. So any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments or something, or ask away.